Hey, this is Josh Bruce, and I was heading into my 1 hour of daily work on the Eightfold platform, and I got to thinking about sort of productivity and developer workflows and sort of how mine has changed, not only over the years and not even just the last few weeks, but even in the last couple of days. Um, and part of the reason that for the change is that I'm really trying to apply in a much more strict fashion than I have in the past some principles or constraints. One is if if you're experiencing pain and you can do anything to solve it, solve it. The second one is leverage what you have until you can't. Okay? And that's because, one, I'm kind of the time guy and the live your truth guy. So if I'm not living what I'm telling other people to live, then what use is there? But the other part is that productivity, so much of it when it comes to efficiency, is about the path of least resistance. And a lot of times the path of least resistance butts up against our principles and our values and what we believe is true or right and good and true about the universe. And so, for example, when it comes to software development, specifically web development, the path of least resistance, at least for me, is go to a file, edit the file, save that change, check it out in the browser, it works. Awesome. We're done, right? And it just becomes this dance between the code, a change, a refresh, the code, a change, refresh. But this, while it's the path of least resistance, it goes against some of our best practices or some of the practices that we say we want to do to create quality code and quality products. Um, for example, when you include something like version control into your workflow, the idea is to, or at least the hope, is that you commit very small changes and maybe not push them up and maybe not merge them into the master branch or anything like that, but you at least commit often. And that way people have a running tally of what happened in these sort of micro changes, right? So the dance, to sort of reset here, the dance becomes more like this. Make a change to a file, save it, refresh, make sure that it worked, come over here and commit. Okay. Well, you can already sort of see the problem or where resistance comes into play, right? Because I've got to click on this window, click to the browser, click refresh, go to commit, so on and so forth. And to be totally honest, I didn't commit a lot in the past, right? I would change a bunch of stuff and sort of go through the dance of browser code, and then once I got done for the day, I would come over and commit all 50,000 changes in one shot, right? And basically my commit message would say something like miscellaneous, right? Um, and but that's not even that the beginning, right? Or that's not the end of it, because one of the other practices that we have is tests, right? Running automated tests and having automated tests to fall back on in case something happens. And so the way that I end up doing that is, I save the file, go into mission control, run the tests, make sure that they pass, go into the browser, make sure that I'm doing at least a minimal manual test if necessary, then come over here, do the commit, and then go back to my code. Not being even remotely funny about this, but ain't nobody got time for that, right? Even if you try to do, because I've seen a lot of developer setups, especially in the Mac, and I'm not the only one who does this sort of thing, but even if you have terminal set up in such a way that you can easily click on it. And usually I want a good hit area so I can just really quickly get over there and I don't have to be specific. But, basically you're making the change, clicking a window, running the tests, checking the browser, committing the change. And so anyway, that started getting really frustrating and tedious. And like my index finger on my trackpad was starting to get cramped. And not only that, but I have a lot of tabs open up here, and sometimes it's hard to find the actual project that I'm working on. But on top of that, right now I'm going through PHP package development from Marcel, and so my flow, if you can even call it that, would sometimes be okay, the update the code and then go over and change the video for Marcel and then update, check the tests and then come back over and check the project, refresh the browser and okay, and then commit and then, it's just very haphazard and scattered. It doesn't allow me to, um, I hate to make this into an acronym, FDF, focus, discipline, flexibility, right? I couldn't really focus. There's nothing that really causes this to be a habit that I want to do, right? There's nothing making it easy for me. Like I said, and I'm not kidding, my index finger was starting to cramp because of jumping through the windows of like, okay, I want to commit often, so I'm constantly committing often. Okay, I want to run tests, so I'm doing the tests and then doing this, right? Every change that I would make is at least 4 clicks away, right? And depending on how I size my windows, it might be a swipe and a click, right? Which, don't get me wrong, mission control is great, but it is scanning through a bunch of stuff to try to find the thing that you want, right? It's essentially opening your toy box and looking inside and going, oh, that's it, right? And then clicking and coming back. So, anyhow, I started really thinking about this and I was like, all right, leverage what you have until you can't and fix your own problems. So Mac OS Mojave, and I can't remember when Mac actually released it, but the green arrow allows you to make a window full screen, and turns it into its own space, right? That can be shifted around and things like that. But if you actually click and hold it, you can go into what's called, or well, I don't know if it's actually called this, but you can go into split screen view mode, and basically it allows you to create a split view. So I'm going to put the browser in the right view, and it takes the current space and puts them in a mosaic, or puts all the windows that are currently open in that space into a mosaic. And then you choose which one you want to be on the other side of the split. So I'm going to choose my code, all right? So now I have a full browser, right? This isn't a plugin. This isn't, like Chromium inside of an IDE. This is Safari. It could be Chrome. It could be Firefox. It could be whatever I wanted. But it's a full browser, right? With full tab capabilities and the whole nine, right? Not only that, but I can actually resize it horizontally, so which is really nice because I can make it into what is essentially a mobile view. So I'm constantly looking at it in a context of mobile, or at least a narrow viewport and display. And now I have full height. I have my code, right? Remember when this was just a window over there? It wasn't taking up the full screen because I had to be able to click around and do all sorts of stuff. Now it's full screen. I got all the files open across the top. I have access to all my files and folders to the left. And I do have a package. I can't remember which one it is, but it gives you a little bit more control inside of your right menu, so you can move things and rename things. So I don't have to switch to Finder to make it easier, and that sort of a thing. At least not normally. So now just going from the code to the browser, right? I can make a change, I can save, I can go to the browser and I can hit refresh. I can go right back and make a change and save and do what I need to do, right? So that's awesome. Let's go ahead and change this so Git thinks it's a change. So now, if I come back to the original space, this becomes, it's still annoying, right? Because I want to make the change, I want to do the tests, I want to commit the change. So that's still annoying. What can we do with what we have? Right? Well, so Sublime Text 3 has the ability to change layouts, right, which is essentially adding panes and panels. Depending on which IDE you're in, that'll be familiar to you. So I'm going to add a row, and I downloaded a package. I installed a package into Sublime Text 3. It's a very easy workflow. If you do Command-Shift-P, you can hit package control, install package, and what it does is it goes to the community to see what packages are available. You can start typing whatever you want to, install the package, and most times it will just automatically be there. So that's convenient. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Command-Shift-P, and I'm going to type in bash. And so there's, whoops. So there's a package called terminal view, and basically the command is open bash terminal. And what it does is it opens a bash terminal, right? So, and it opens the bash terminal inside the folder that you're in, right? So whatever the root folder is inside of Sublime, that's where you're going to end up, okay? Now, we have, or should have, no. So let's go ahead and make a change and save it. So it's there, and then I can come over here and it's terminal. So I'm going to say git commit all that I can with a message from Sublime, and I'm going to hit enter, and now it's gone, right? Because it was committed. So I don't have to go to that other space. I have a terminal right here. Now, the way that I have this project set up, Eightfold is the only folder that should be doing commits. So this basically turns into me going up, changing the message, and then hitting enter. And of course, it fails. But that's all I have to do to commit, and I don't have to leave the space I'm in, no matter how easy it is. Right? So I can make this change, hit save, hit up, and there you go. Right? So I am consistently committing without having to go anywhere or do anything weird. Now, I'll go ahead and clear that. I haven't figured out a better way to clear that. Command or Control K doesn't work. So, right, like I can't. Yeah, Command K doesn't work over there. Works here. So, anyhow, sorry, sidetrack. Run the tests. I want to run the test here. Well, Command-Shift-P, bash, open another bash terminal, cd into Laravel, because that's where the tests are, at least the tests we care about right now. And there you go. All within the editor. Now, this isn't shocking, right? Like this isn't new. But remember, the idea is, or the major selling point here is use what you have, right? I didn't have to go to, another editor or a different IDE through a different company, possibly spending hundreds of dollars to make it happen, right? I can just set this up. And the thing is that it's always set up until I decide to tear it down. So as long as this space exists, this setup exists. Right? So the area that I'm going to be working in today is inside of Kron. So, and it has its own test because it's a package, just like anything else. So I'm going to go ahead and go in here. And this is the part that's kind of annoying, but at the same time, I'll get over it. So this will fail horribly, and it's supposed to because I'm working on it. The thing about it is that I can't scroll up, right? And I don't know if that's a bug in the package or a limitation within Sublime Text 3, but that's just the way that it is right now, which is fine. I don't need to spend the time to figure it out. But I can also make it pretty big, so I can run it again and at least try to get a context for what's going on here, right? And if I really need to scroll up, I can always come back to the real terminal and do that. So core Kron, right? And then I have the ability to scroll all the way up, right? As far as I want to. So terminals figured out. Testing just became a lot easier, right? Doing my commits became a lot easier. I actually don't like committing through terminal, but I'll probably make an alias or something later. But yeah, so that's my entire environment. And so if I have, or if I want to, listen to a different video from Marcel, I just swipe over and it seamlessly integrates into my flow. I'm doing my thing. Marcel's not talking. Let me go start a new video. Back to doing my thing. Not only that, but while I'm working, I can go ahead and, when I finish committing something and manually testing whatever manual test I'm going to run and automatically testing whatever it is, and I'm about to move on to the next thing, I can swipe to the right where I have another space that has all of my models, my business process models, my various diagrams, data, all that good jazz, right? And I can take a look and say, okay, what's the next design that I had? And then I can shift back and I can start making the tests and doing what I need to do. And if the design has to change, I can just switch back over real quick and make the change and then come back and continue on about my day. So no clicking, no more cramps in the index finger. And for me, it's a pretty nice setup. If you decide to go with a setup like this, let me know. And let me know how it's working for you. If you come up with improvements to it, definitely let me know. Like if you know a way to make git commit just easy, not automated, not fully automated. I still want to do messages, but just easier. Then yeah, definitely hook me up. Beyond that, I'm going to go ahead and get started on this. Thank you so much for making the time, and I'll see you.